Hello, Snackable Wisdom family. Here's a list of astonishing coincidences that will blow your mind. In 1898, 14 years before the Titanic sank, author Morgan Robertson wrote a novella titled Futility. The book described an unsinkable luxury ship called Titan that hits an iceberg and sinks in the North Atlantic. Both ships were massive, luxurious, and lacked enough lifeboats. Both met their doom in April. Did Robertson foresee the future, or was this just a chilling coincidence? The similarities between the fictional and real events are uncanny. Jim Lewis and Jim Springer, identical twins separated at birth, grew up without knowing each other. When they reunited at age 39, they discovered astonishing parallels. Both had dogs named Toy. Both married women named Linda, divorced them, and remarried women named Betty. Both worked in law enforcement and had sons named James Allan, though spelled differently. Edgar Allan Poe's novel, The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym, written in 1838, describes shipwreck survivors resorting to cannibalism, with one victim being a cabin boy named Richard Parker. 46 years later, a real shipwreck occurred, and survivors did the same, eating a cabin boy named Richard Parker. This eerie coincidence has led many to wonder if Poe had some sort of premonition, or if it was just a bizarre twist of fate. Mark Twain was born in 1835, the year Halley's Comet passed Earth. He predicted he would die when the comet returned. Amazingly, he passed away in 1910, the exact year of the comet's return. US Presidents Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy share bizarre parallels. Both were assassinated on a Friday. Both were succeeded by men named Johnson. Lincoln was killed in Ford's theater. Kennedy was killed in a Lincoln car made by Ford. Their assassins, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, were both killed before their trials. In 1929, Anne Parrish found a book titled Jack Frost and Other Stories in a Paris bookstore. She told her husband it was her favorite childhood book. Inside, Anne's name and childhood address were written. It was her exact copy from years ago. This incredible coincidence left them both astonished. In 1893, Henry Ziegland broke up with his girlfriend, who then took her own life. Her brother tried to shoot Ziegland, but the bullet missed and lodged in a tree. Years later, while cutting down the tree, Ziegland used dynamite. The explosion propelled the old bullet, killing him instantly. In 1975, a man riding a moped in Bermuda was hit and killed by a taxi. A year later, his twin brother died in the same spot, hit by the same taxi driver carrying the same passenger. The first person to die during the construction of the Hoover Dam was George Tierney on December 20, 1922. The last person to die was his son Patrick Tierney exactly 13 years later on December 20, 1935. A truly astonishing coincidence. King Umberto I of Italy dined at a small restaurant in 1900. He discovered the restaurant owner looked exactly like him. Both were born on the same day in the same town. Both married women named Margherita. Both opened significant ventures on the same day. Umberto became king, and the owner opened his restaurant. The next day, both were killed, Umberto by an assassin and the owner in an unrelated shooting. In 1975, two men, 30 years apart, were struck and killed by the same taxi while riding the same moped. The same passenger was in the taxi during both accidents. In 2002, a man in Florida bought a lottery ticket winning $500,000. 4 years later, he accidentally bought the same numbers and won the same amount again. Actor Anthony Hopkins needed a rare book, The Girl from Petrovka, for a role. Unable to find it, he stumbled upon a forgotten copy on a park bench. Later, he learned it belonged to the film's author, who had lent it to a friend who lost it on the same bench. In the 1930s in Detroit, Joseph Figlock was walking when a baby fell from a high window onto him. Both survived. A year later, the same baby fell onto Joseph again, and both survived. This incredible coincidence left everyone astonished. A ship named Titanic was sailing in 1935, more than 2 decades after the Titanic's tragic sinking, when it almost hit an iceberg. The crew credited its survival to a young sailor named James Cornish. His vigilant spotting saved them. A stark echo of the Titanic's tragedy. Are these coincidences products of sheer chance or the universe's mysterious ways? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to Snackable Wisdom.